On land, in the deep sea, on every continent, within every ocean, except the Arctic. From the plains of Africa to the rainforests of South America. From the most remote corners of the world to the woods behind your house. Long before civilization formed, even before the history of our ancestors began, enduring the erosion of time and forged by the process of evolution, unfaltering before any foe, the oldest of reptiles still proudly exists, the turtle. Turtle is the common name for all members of the order Testudines. There are 3 distinct terms for different groups. The term turtle primarily refers to families that live both on land and in water. Tortoise refers to species that live on land, and terrapin is the name for a group of small turtles living in brackish water. The species of all 3 groups are closely related, distributed across more than 14 families and over 300 species. Sharing traits with both herbivores and carnivores, turtles can be found across the globe, from the southern Arctic to near the Antarctic. Their size is also diverse, from the largest, the Leatherback Sea Turtle, which can be over 2 meters long and weigh more than 900 kilograms, to the smallest, the Speckled Tortoise, which is just over 7 centimeters long and weighs over 140 grams. Turtles evolved 220 million years ago, at the end of the Triassic period, originating from a common ancestor shared with crocodiles and dinosaurs. The turtle's ribs evolved to curve backward, forming a soft shell that protected both the upper and lower body. The skull also simplified, with teeth disappearing to form a strong beak that is actually a direct extension of the skull. By the early Jurassic period, turtles had a shape very similar to today's, differing only in size. For instance, the Archelon turtle grew to nearly 4 meters long and hunted squid in the vast oceans of the late Cretaceous period. Since then, all turtle species have shared the same basic body plan and key features. The most prominent of these is their protective shell, which contains extensions of the turtle's skeleton, with the shoulders and hips located inside the ribcage instead of outside like in other animals. The ribs themselves have flattened and fused together to form a solid surface. The only exceptions are the shells of soft-shell turtles and leatherback sea turtles, which are only partially made of bone. Instead, their shells are formed mainly from a soft and flexible skin. The protective shell is an evolutionary feature where the ribs and spine fuse during embryonic development to form a final casing that envelops the turtle's entire body except for the limbs and head. Covered in horny scales made of keratin, the turtle's shell is used for defense against predators and to protect the body from harsh environmental conditions. A turtle's shell consists of 2 separate parts connected on the sides. The upper, convex dome-like structure is called the carapace. The carapace varies widely in shape and size. The carapaces of tortoises are often high and unevenly domed, making them difficult to grip and bite, while aquatic turtles and terrapins usually have thinner, more streamlined shells for better movement through water. The flatter lower part is called the plastron. In some turtle species, the plastron has a hinge that allows the turtle to retract its head and neck inside. Just like sea turtles, tortoises and terrapins can also pull their limbs and head into their shells for self-defense. All turtles are divided into 2 main suborders. The more primitive suborder, Pleurodyra, side-necked turtles, typically retracts its neck to the side. This includes the African side-necked turtle, the mata-mata, and many species living in South America and Australia. The more common suborder, Cryptodyra, hidden-necked turtles, retracts its neck by pulling it straight back under the spine, creating a completely different spinal structure. This suborder includes all alligator snapping turtles, sea turtles, pond turtles, box turtles, river turtles, leaf turtles, roofed turtles, pig-nosed turtles, terrapins, and softshell turtles. Like other reptiles, turtles are cold-blooded, ectothermic, and depend on the temperature of the surrounding water or air to regulate their body temperature. Therefore, turtles often bask in the sun to raise their body temperature before diving into warm water or to remain active until evening. In colder climates, turtles enter a state of hibernation during the winter months. During this time, they can function without any food by reducing their bodily functions to a minimum. Some sea turtles can even lower their heart rate to 1 beat every 9 minutes. However, like all reptiles, they still wake up periodically to drink water. Most turtle species are freshwater turtles, easily found in rivers, ponds and swamps around the world. Many have evolved to have webbed feet, an ideal feature for paddling, along with long claws that help them climb onto riverbanks or floating logs to bask. Some species, like the pig-nosed turtle, have flipper-like feet as they rarely venture onto land. Meanwhile, other semi-aquatic species have certain periods where they live primarily on land. For example, the Asian leaf turtle spends only its early years in rivers, streams and ponds. Freshwater turtles and terrapins can eat anything from aquatic plants to insects, snails and fish. Because protein is essential for the growth of young turtles, all species are entirely carnivorous in their early years. There are 57 species of tortoises that live exclusively on land, using their clawed, sturdy feet to traverse a multitude of terrains. They can be found in forests, deserts, grasslands, and even urban environments. However, their heavy shells and short limbs greatly limit their speed. The fastest recorded speed of a leopard tortoise is just over 0.9 kilometers per hour, 0.5 miles per hour. As strict herbivores, tortoises primarily eat grasses, leaves, fruits and flowers. Only 7 species of sea turtles remain on Earth, including the green sea turtle, loggerhead, Kemp's ridley, olive ridley, hawksbill, flatback and leatherback. They are found in oceans all over the world as they often travel long distances between their nesting and feeding grounds. Leatherback sea turtles eat fish and marine invertebrates like jellyfish and sponges, while some species with stronger jaws, like the loggerhead or Kemp's ridley, specialise in eating crustaceans. The green sea turtle primarily eats seaweed and kelp. All sea turtles have evolved flippers for aquatic locomotion. The front flippers propel the body forward, while the hind flippers help with steering. Sea turtles also have a uniquely adapted respiratory system with a higher count of red blood cells and hemoglobin than other turtles, along with large amounts of myoglobin in their muscles and large lungs. All of this helps them store enough oxygen to stay underwater for up to an hour on a single breath. The leatherback sea turtle, for example, can also use a special anaerobic respiratory system that allows it to function without oxygen when necessary. Instead of breaking down glucose directly at the cellular level to convert food into energy, some species can endure up to 30 hours in an oxygen-free environment. Some species, including sea turtles, terrapins, and freshwater turtles, have developed methods to extract oxygen from water, similar to fish gills. They often use a pair of sacs called cloacal bursae, or finger-like extensions called papillae near their cloaca, the combined reproductive, digestive and urinary opening. Sea turtles use salt glands near their eyes, tongue or nostrils to expel excess salt absorbed while swimming or breathing, releasing it in the form of tears and secretions, similar to crocodiles. Turtles have excellent low-light vision due to an unusually high number of rod cells in their retinas. They can see colours in a spectrum ranging from near ultraviolet to red, allowing them to see clearly in murky dark water and at dusk. On land, because most tortoises are active during the day or evening, they often have poor distance vision. All turtles have a highly developed sense of smell. Instead of relying on external nostrils, their olfactory organs originate from nerve bundles located under the chin, helping them to smell not only in the air, but also underwater. Male turtles often use their sense of smell to detect the presence of a female when she releases pheromones nearby. However, a turtle's hearing is very limited as they lack an outer ear or eardrum. Instead, they sense vibrations in the air and changes in water pressure to alert them to the approach of predators. A turtle's skin is typically tough to resist abrasion from water or dryness, like that of a tortoise. Unlike snake scales, a turtle's scales, or scutes, do not overlap. They do not shed all at once as the turtle grows. Instead, the scutes flake off individually or in pieces. This is partly due to hours of basking in the harsh tropical sun, or in the case of the South American river turtle, being bitten and pulled at by other turtles to remove old scutes, after which new ones form underneath. A turtle's skin is very sensitive to temperature and physical contact. They can even feel the slightest touch on their shell. A turtle's mouth and jaw are specialized for its diet, and their bite is often very powerful for their size. Some species have flat, crushing surfaces for breaking the shells of crustaceans, while others, like the alligator snapping turtle, have a famously sharp beak that can easily tear apart any prey, as this species is primarily carnivorous. Turtles also use their bite as a defensive weapon or to protect their territory, during which times they can be very aggressive and easily injure a human. Sexual dimorphism among turtle species varies greatly. Typically, females are larger, have a flatter plastron, sometimes have a different eye colour than males, and possess a shorter tail with a narrower base. For the female, the tail has almost no function, but in the male, it houses the reproductive organ and grows significantly as the male matures. Most species take from 2 years for tortoises to 50 years for the green sea turtle to reach sexual maturity. A turtle's maturation is related to its physical size, not its age, as in some other animals. Due to their very long lifespan, most turtles live from 20 to 50 years, with some living much longer, giving them the longest lifespan among vertebrates. A turtle's internal organs do not gradually deteriorate like those of other animals. Their cells continuously regenerate and show no signs of decay. An Aldabra giant tortoise in India was recorded to have lived to be 250 years old before dying from complications of an infection. Turtles are typically solitary creatures with only a few species living in large colonies, and they only gather during migration or mating season, forming groups of both males and females. The mating season occurs once a year for most freshwater turtles, terrapins and tortoises, usually in the spring or early dry season, while some tropical and Mediterranean species mate year-round. Sea turtles only mate every 2 to 4 years. The pairing process often begins with simple courtship rituals. The male red-eared slider swims around the female, vibrating his long front claws against her head and releasing pheromones. If the female sinks to the bottom, she has accepted the male's proposal. Meanwhile, among tortoises, males are extremely aggressive. They force the female into submission by pecking and biting her until she retracts into her shell, allowing the male to mount her. Sea turtles mate underwater, with several males competing for the attention of a single female, displaying their long necks to show their physical superiority and desire. In general, all turtles are polygamous. The female seeks out and mates with several males to ensure genetic diversity. The female stores sperm from multiple males in her oviducts before digging a nest. She can even retain sperm for several years if she doesn't find a suitable new partner in subsequent mating seasons. The mating process is usually brief and initiated by the male, who mounts his partner and curls his tail under hers. Afterward, the female returns to her chosen nesting area to lay her eggs. Kemp's ridley and olive ridley turtles form large migrating groups of females, called aribathas, that come ashore together to lay their eggs. Sea turtles, terrapins and freshwater turtles all lay their eggs on or near beaches. Tortoises often lay their eggs on south-facing hillsides to catch as much sunlight as possible. The specific location is carefully chosen by sampling the soil. The female tests the ground with her mouth to ensure it is not too hard or too moist for incubation. Once decided, the female begins to dig a nest, a long and arduous process that often takes many hours to complete. Then, she will lay her eggs. A turtle can lay from 1 to several hundred eggs at a time, depending on the species. The hawksbill turtle lays the most eggs, with a female capable of laying over 200 eggs at once. Many turtle species lay 1 to 9 clutches per season, with each clutch laid several weeks apart. Turtle eggs are usually small, soft, leathery, and round. Tortoise eggs are often harder, more like chicken eggs, to adapt to the drier climate of their nesting sites. The eggs are then buried in sand or mud and left to incubate. The mother does not return to the nest, but leaves the eggs to develop on their own. Hatchlings take 60 to 120 days to emerge, depending on the species. The temperature of the nest determines the sex of the turtle. Temperature-dependent sex determination. Higher incubation temperatures stimulate the production of male sex hormones in the embryo. The average temperature of a turtle nest remains stable at around 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Temperature fluctuations can cause deformities in the hatchlings or cause the eggs to rupture. Inside the egg, the hatchling is folded in half towards its still soft plastron, gradually straightening out until its head touches the eggshell. A small bony projection at the end of its snout, called an egg tooth, breaks the shell. After consuming the yolk sac, the egg tooth will fall off or wear away as the turtle grows. Hatchlings are born as miniature versions of their parents. Tortoise hatchlings often scatter after hatching to find food and water, while sea turtle, terrapin and freshwater hatchlings head straight for the nearest body of water. Many young turtles live under thick layers of seaweed to find food and protect themselves from predators. However, they spend most of their first 5 years near the coast. Despite this, some species, like red-eared slider hatchlings, cannot enter the water for up to 3 weeks after hatching because their shells are not yet hard enough. The crease where they were folded inside the egg is still visible. The mortality rate for hatchlings is extremely high. Less than 1% of hatchlings survive their first year. Because their shells are not yet hard, they are slower than adult turtles, and their small size makes them easy prey for small predators like lizards, snakes, birds, and wild dogs. The word turtle has complex roots, with some tracing it back to the Latin tortus, twisted. In ancient times, some cultures associated them with the underworld. Turtles have long been important mythological figures in many cultures around the world, seen as symbols of wisdom and longevity, but they have also been ambiguously regarded as symbols of deception and betrayal due to their dual nature, living both on land and in water. African mythology often portrays turtles as both cunning tricksters and resourceful heroes. In ancient Egypt, the image of the Nile turtle was used as a charm against evil and to protect human life and health. In later dynasties, the turtle became a symbol of evil, an enemy of the sun god Ra. Turtles were sacrificed and impaled in religious ceremonies, and their bodies were divided into parts to create medicines and cosmetics. Later, the turtle was revered and became one of the 4 celestial animals in Chinese mythology, along with the dragon, the qilin, a mythical creature, and the phoenix. In the military, they were considered a symbolic reflection of the powerful dragon. In folklore, the turtle is also an integral part of creation myths. Its flat plastron and domed carapace reflected the ancient belief that the earth was flat and the sky was round. In Hindu mythology, the turtle is part of the formation of the universe, as it was believed that the world rests on the backs of 4 elephants standing on the shell of a giant turtle. Similarly, in traditional Native American cultures, the world was molded by a creator from mud, and as it grew larger, only the great turtle could support it on her back. However, modern depictions focus on the turtle's slowness, perseverance, and wisdom. Turtles have become an indispensable part of fairy tales and myths for children, appearing frequently in books and animated films. Today, the popular image of the turtle has made it a flagship species for conservation efforts, used as a symbol for animal rights and environmental protection. The turtles themselves have also recently been used to promote ecotourism in many countries, especially sea turtles, by developing tourism resources around observing and helping hatchlings make their way from the nest to the sea. Today, turtles have also become popular pets, especially in Western countries. They are kept outdoors, in aquariums, and in artificial terrariums. Turtles are easy to care for and live a long time, but many have been unintentionally mistreated because turtle keeping is still relatively new and there is little guidance on their care. Their thick shells also make providing healthcare more difficult. This has led to a situation where many turtles die from complications or from being kept in unsuitable environments without enough light, or from improper breeding attempts, as many owners unknowingly try to crossbreed species with disastrous consequences. Turtles are also notoriously picky about their nesting sites, so many captive females will refuse to nest and suffer complications from retaining their eggs. Like most reptiles, turtles carry salmonella bacteria in their intestines, which can easily be transmitted to their owners. For this reason, many countries have strict regulations on the types of turtles that can be sold as pets. Turtles are also a delicacy in many culinary cultures. Turtle soup is particularly popular in Asian countries, leading to an increasing number of turtles being hunted and farmed for their meat. The plastron is considered a valuable ingredient in traditional Chinese medicine, used to make guilin gao, turtle jelly, which is sold to millions of people across Southeast Asia. Turtle oil is widely used in Latin America in the production of cosmetics and is often advertised as the essence of the turtle. Turtles face numerous threats from climate change, deforestation, and the pollution and acidification of oceans, rivers, and lakes. Overfishing severely threatens the food sources of sea turtles, while tortoise and freshwater turtle species endemic to tropical rainforests face the risk of habitat loss. Tortoises are a particularly hard-hit group, with over 70% of species currently threatened. 27 species are on the brink of extinction, and more than 240 are critically endangered. Turtles may be loved all over the world, but despite their longevity and evolutionary history, their lifespan is also shortening. Only radical conservation efforts can save turtles, or it will be too late. We can only hope that the world of turtles will return as they thrive and persevere on land, in the deep sea, on every continent, in every ocean, to be one of the last remaining wild animals on Earth.